A common criticism of philosophy is that it rarely, if ever, yields definitive answers. After all, philosophical issues can be debated for centuries without any real resolution. In this module, we take a look at whether or not that constitutes a real weakness for philosophy, or whether, instead, maybe philosophy offers a different kind of knowledge, what we now refer to as Socratic wisdom. One way that's kind of helped me capture what philosophy, or one way to sort of present what philosophy is up to, is to offer the distinction between, say, negative knowledge and positive knowledge. And what I mean by this, and we're going to see that Socrates and the idea of Socratic wisdom, and we'll be introduced to that in the next couple of lectures, it's going to parallel exactly what Russell is suggesting and how he's characterizing philosophy, right? Philosophy doesn't offer these definitive answers. Instead, so why do philosophy? Well, what it does maybe garner or get us is a greater awareness. Maybe in doing philosophy, we kind of do get closer to the truth because we become more aware of our ignorance, right? Of all the things that we actually don't know. Whereas before, when we were on autopilot, we were just confident we knew all these various things, right? When philosophy shines the light on the fact that maybe we don't have all these answers. So it's kind of a negative knowledge, a knowledge of what we don't know. It enhances that, makes us more aware that we aren't the end-all, be-all of everything. We don't have all the answers. Maybe we don't even have any answers. Okay? We're not the center of the universe. And it wakes us up to the fact that there is a much grander, mysterious universe out there, right? Full of mystery that we should be questioning and thinking about. Okay? So versus what I mean by positive knowledge is like having these definitive answers, right? This is what happens after we die. This is why there's something and not nothing. So maybe we don't get that sort of knowledge. Instead, right, we become more aware that we don't know what comes after death, right? Or we don't know why there's something and not nothing. Okay? So it's kind of a weird kind of notion, right? In some sense, it gets us closer to the truth by illuminating how little of the truth we actually know. Does that make sense? And so Socratic wisdom, by the way, which we'll flesh out in much greater detail in the next few lectures, is the idea that, who are the truly wise people? The ones who acknowledge their dummy heads, the ones that appreciate how stupid they are. That I already relay to you guys the whole Socrates, and we'll get into like the tale of Socrates. But he finally reluctantly concedes that he's the smartest one on earth after like spending decades trying to find someone smarter. And what was it that made him smarter? The whole idea of Socratic wisdom? His actual appreciation and that he knew nothing, right? He was the only one that was fully aware of just how little he knew, right? Everyone else shared the shortcoming of thinking they knew things that they didn't, okay? So that's what put him one up, is that greater awareness of not knowing things, right? Whereas everybody else on autopilot thinks they do know all these things, okay? Or at least some things that they don't. Okay. So again, Russell certainly paints the same sort of image of philosophy as we get from Socrates and that idea of Socratic wisdom. Okay. As he says, quote, and this is from 56, "It cannot be maintained that philosophy has had any very great measure of success in its attempts to provide definite answers to its questions." And it certainly stands out. It's different from other disciplines in that sense. Okay. So, and I kind of got into this, right? The whole idea that maybe philosophy, really what it's about is, again, shining a light on all the stuff we don't know. And we do that primarily through asking good questions and realizing we don't have the answers to them. And I like the bullet point at the very bottom. In some sense, philosophy is more about, ultimately, it becomes more about asking questions than necessarily providing answers. Okay. Yeah, and again, so philosophy for Russell, that top bullet point, is a process, right? What's involved? It's a process of gradually acknowledging our place in the universe, right? And that we're not the center of it, so to speak, right? And acknowledging and realizing, again, the limits of our knowledge, maybe, and our ignorance to some extent. Indeed, if philosophy fails to provide definitive answers, Perhaps its value lies elsewhere. Maybe its value lies in how it encourages us to change how we view the world. And the next module will explore that idea.